Okay, we're going to sort of go back to a story I think we drew national attention to, although it was originally published and stuff. It was about a poem that was turned into a play that was performed at the Auckland Arts Festival and various other lefty arts festivals around the country. The poem was called Savage Coloniser, and it was by a New Zealand poet of, I think, European and Pacifica descent, called Tusiata Avia. And this poem, a background piece about Tusiata Avia, was published by Stuff, who also online published the video of her reading her poem. Now, that prompted numerous complaints because of the nature of the poem, prompted numerous complaints to the Race Relations Commission, the Human Rights Commission, which rejected them all basically on the grounds that it didn't want to be nasty to brown people and that you cannot be racist to white people and to white men. That was fundamentally what the Human Rights Commission said. It did nothing. A whole lot of you, well, in total, 11 people, though, went to the New Zealand Media Council and laid a complaint against Stuff for publishing the column, publishing the poem, particularly the video. Now, we also published and replayed the poem, and so that we know what we're talking about this morning, I'm going to play it again, and I want to warn you that I believe that this poem does contain hate speech, and this is like a warning that it might upset you and offend you. There we go.
Hey, James. Yeah, you. In the white wig and that big endeavour, sailing the blue, blue ocean like a big asshole. Fuck you, bitch. James, I heard someone shoved a knife right up into the gap between your white ribs at Kealakekua Bay. I'm gonna go there. Make a big makahiki luau, cook a white pig, feed it to the dogs, and fuck you up, bitch. Hey, James, it's us. These days we're driving around in SUVs and looking for you. All white men like you, who might be thieves or rapists or kidnappers or murderers, yeah, or any of your descendants or any of your incarnations, 'cause you know, hey bitch, we're gonna fuck you up.
Isn't that a nice piece of art? Isn't that a nice piece of art? So we've published it, and you can complain if you want, but we've done it in context. Now, the Media Council, and someone, thank you, I got a copy of this last night and read through it. So I'm going to take you through what the New Zealand Media Council said about that poem being published in an article which backgrounded the victimhood mentality of Tusiata Avia and how, well, I don't know, just being who she is so hard, and it's all white men's fault. That's why she wants to stick them with a knife. I'm just going to pick the eyes out of this New Zealand Media Council decision. The Media Council received 11 completed complaints about the article headline, Tusiata Avia can't wait to make you uncomfortable. It describes, the Media Council describes the poem as a violent fantasy in which the poet addresses explorer James Cook from the view of a colonised woman. Well, she's never been colonised. She was born contemporaneously, using Cook as a personification of colonisation. Okay, so all right. And they look at the principles that they use to guide them in making decisions, and they say issues of gender, religion, minority group, sexual orientation, age, race, colour, or physical or mental disability are legitimate subjects for discussion where they are relevant and in the public interest, and publications may report and express opinions in these areas, Publications should not, however, place gratuitous emphasis on any such category in their reporting. They go through and they quote, take extracts from some of the 11 complaints, which all basically say the poem is racist and hateful. That's the overall view. Across the board, the complainants, it says, are offended by the poem and accuse Stuff of inciting racial violence and hatred by choosing to publish it. One complainant said Stuff was race-baiting by publishing the poem, and the article achieved no purpose except promoting the poet's show. He compared the publication to picking a scab on a knee, leaving it alone, it will heal. Stuff is picking at the scab of racism, and in doing so, this complainant feared the wound would get infected. Another complainant said in her complaint, a genuine concern that the publication of the poem will stir up racial hatred and lead to the radicalisation of people at a time where there is significant work underway to improve Aotearoa's, that's New Zealand's, social cohesion. Another complaint was horrified that Stuff was endorsing the views expressed in the poem and that Ms. Arvia was receiving taxpayer funding. This person said debate is fine, but encouraging murder and violence and dehumanising other people while laughing about it is not okay. So how does the Media Council deal with this? Well, they have a little bit of concern. And so Stuff came back and just said, oh, well, look, in context, it was worth discussing that Stuff is committed to presenting a range of voices to its audience. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, Stuff also relies on the fact that the Human Rights Commission wouldn't do a damn thing about the poem in its defence of itself. And that Stuff says, the Human Rights Commission says the poem was art, and the sharing of ideas can help create greater understanding. And Stuff argued the poem was a work of art, not a piece of reporting. So they're just saying basically bugger off. Gosh, and on, and there's a whole lot of discussion about the poem. Now, it's really interesting. In their deliberation, the New Zealand Media Council have redefined, to my mind, what we define racism as in this country, and it's not like the Human Rights Commission haven't told them how to do this already. They say racism, which I've always regarded to judge a person because of their group identity, either their ethnicity or being short or tall or the colour of their skin, making a value judgment on them based on a prejudicial view of the group that they belong to, whether it be a large group, a minority group or a majority group. That's what racism is to me, saying because you are that, you must be that, and it's a negative connotation. But no, I've got it all wrong. I've had it all wrong my whole life. Racism is typically defined as discrimination by a powerful institution, group or person against a group or person based on their race or ethnicity. In colloquial terms, the News Media Council now says racism means punching down. No, it doesn't. It means racism. So they have redefined the word racism. Less powerful groups or people can be discriminatory. They can be discriminatory and therefore subject to Media Council rulings. But minority groups, according to the Media Council, can seldom be racist. Minorities can't be racist. If you're part of a minority group, you cannot be racist, according to the Press Council. We do not need to decide on the issue in this debate because the complaints are not against a column or an article, but against a poem, which you have already given a free pass to, because poems are art. And they said, gosh, if we were to say something nasty about this poem, it'd be like censoring Picasso's great painting Guernica. Ooh, I don't think that Tisiata Arvia is in the Picasso canon, up there in that grade. Apparently views on colonisation have been published in New Zealand media for more than a century, and sometimes in terms offensive to others, often apparently by Pākehā men. Who the hell brought Pākehā men into this, Media Council? Given the importance of free speech in an open democracy, Stuff is just as entitled to publish Ms. Arvia's views. Hearing the view of a Pacifica woman on the subject, however upsetting, and whether one agrees with her or not, provides some balance to a long-running debate. That's good. You're fighting for our freedom. Apparently, too, according to the Media Council, even if a Pacifica woman personifies colonisation in violent terms, there is nothing in our principles that require media to veer away from debating that violence. In truth, good journalism requires the media to publish examples of violence and wrestle with debate about violence on a daily basis. Okay, you're laying it out here, Media Council. But they sum it all up in dismissing all 11 of the complaints. All 11 are dismissed. They're found to have no merit whatsoever. And in this 6 or 7 pages, they bend over backwards to construct a new world where racism is something it didn't used to be, and you cannot be racist to Pākehā men. And I'm going to read the final conclusion paragraph to you. On the rare occasion the Council has upheld complaints against columns and even cartoons, there have been gratuitous or further circumstances that we do not see here. Presumably you're blind to the publicity photo that shows her holding a machete. The issue of race is core to Ms. Arvia's strong views on colonisation and is the very point of the poem. So it is not gratuitous, as is indeed gender. As Principle 7 records, race is a legitimate topic for debate. The poem arguably uses dark humour, but it is not laughing at the powerless or another's misery. Neither, given the personification of Cook, is it describing a real-life situation. It is punching up at a more powerful race and gender, not down. It is punching up at a more powerful race and gender, not down. Therefore, according to the Media Council, it cannot be racist. You can say anything you like if you say you've been colonised or you say you've been oppressed. It is, in effect, in written terms and in media terms, what we saw at Albert Park 3 weeks ago. This is the bullying of people who say we don't like something and we'd like to speak against it.